Stay black in America. Don't leave no going where America is the greatest country in the world for a black man or a black woman. Again, America is the number one greatest economy in the world, and black folks living in America are the 15th greatest economy in the world. We're gonna we're gonna come to another kind of conclusion. Maryland and Virginia both border Washington D.C., which is called the nation's capital, which is a jurisdiction. It's actually a territory. It's been that way since Congress, since its conception. Maryland is 143 times bigger than Washington, D.C. Maryland is composed of 24 counties, right? I think it'd be easier if Washington, D.C. was absorbed by Maryland, made it 25 counties of Maryland, used the mall down there where mostly tourists go and call it the nation's capital, whatever, because you got the Capitol Police, you got the Secret Service police and all that. Let them control the area. Let Maryland control the rest of the D.C. area. Maryland is the richest state in the United States, and D.C. has a high per capita income because being so close to the to government facilities and jobs of the nature of that thing. Better to absorb. It's sad that people would come here, white people, all type of people would become citizens of Washington D.C. and automatically lose representation in Congress and Congress and the House of Representatives and the Senate. It's kind of ridiculous to come here and fall down in category when you come here to try to boost yourself up in category. So I think if Maryland absorbs D.C., the federal government let them do that. They absorb D.C. and the citizens in D.C. vote for that. Then if all these people were born in D.C. and died in D.C., at least they finally have true representation in Congress. They have senators and House of Representatives and things of that nature. So I think that's the best way to work this thing out, man. Because the way it's going is just dysfunctional. D.C. Somebody can run back and forth to Maryland, Virginia, and circumvent D.C. at times. It's about time. It's like it's never going to happen on its own. Never going to become a state by itself. So it's better to just join with somebody else, like these superstar basketball players do. And they ain't never going to win a championship. So what they do is they join with another team, better players, and then they gain what they want to gain. They gain a championship. I don't think it's going to affect any political leaders. The mayor can probably still be the mayor. D.C. will just be the 25th county. Call it the District of Columbia. It'll still be the District of Columbia, but Maryland. Zip codes, keep all that stuff the same. The little council people don't worry about losing your job, your income, your money. Keep that the same. Police just flip it over to a swear in by Maryland, be Maryland police, and that way it's just the young black kids, they have a bigger opportunity to go to all kind of colleges, a bigger opportunity to move wherever you want to move to Maryland, D.C. Car inspection be one time a year. You don't have to worry about. One time, and then you basically never go through it again. D.C. is every year going through that kind of inspection thing. Taxes raise up. Every year they revisiting taxes, raising taxes up every year. Taxes not based upon nothing real. Just based upon whether they want to charge you. Nothing other jurisdictions, based at least upon property value. What homes are selling for in a certain area, not just say, well, we're going to take it up 2% because we can. We're going to take it up to this ratio because we can. So a lot of things in zoning can probably straighten out zoning, because you would have the Maryland zoning people hooking with DC, either eliminate the DC zoning people and just go all Maryland zoning people, since they used to have been doing a bigger landmass. Again, Maryland is 143 times bigger than Washington DC. So you got people with far more experience, far more ventures going on. So it'd probably be far more legitimate if zoning was taken on by Maryland, and like I said, DC just absorbed by Maryland and become part of the state. That way you don't have to worry about people crying like Eleanor Holmes Norton talking about she's going to lay prostate on the floor, protesting them not making DC a state. Well, that's just kind of ridiculous. I think she knows. She's a smart lady. Probably used to be a professor at Georgetown University. She knows it's just an act. People want to keep their own separate little cloud, their own little separate things. But in the meantime, I think it's far better. The Redskins already playing Maryland, or not the Redskins, the Washington team. They call them a Maryland team. Just keep switching up jerseys. You go from Redskin to Washington team to Commanders to what you want to do. Just change the uniforms again. How hard is that to do? And so that's the way this thing is going to work out, man. If the DC will truly cease to exist, take all the flags down, all the little license plates talking about no taxation or representation, take all that kind of stuff down, man. Just like I said, be absorbed by Maryland. A lot of people, when they reach financial stability, they tend to move to Maryland. Some people, you got a lot of standard rich people living in the areas of DC. I guess all of them down on Military Road or Wisconsin Avenue or Borden, Bethesda, or all around University District of Columbia. All those areas like that. We got a lot of white contingency or white people been living in DC for a long time, but mostly black folks would be helped more by just expand, become a state. More resources, more money, more avenues to succeed. License plate already be Maryland. Just move wherever you want to move. Don't have to worry about changing that. Maryland's motor vehicles places use a huge, better, quicker, fast. I mean, everything is pretty much advanced compared to what DC is. DC dealing with a lot of money, but don't seem to know how to allocate it properly. So, I've been told by, Maryland lawyer, there's a bunch of crooks in DC. So, where the money goes and what it amounts to. And then when the mayor was begging President Trump for more funding during the pandemic and couldn't get it, we were part of Maryland. We would have got all that funding and more because we've actually been a state then. So it's going to help the individual people living here in the District of Columbia. The bottom line, you want to make your citizens have a better, more fruitful life, a more advanced life. So if that's going to take absorbing it into Maryland and having a vote on it, or going to some type of thing when you put it on the ballot, I'm sure that DC citizens will vote for it, because who wants to be looked at as a second-class citizen? I mean, you're paying your taxes, you're doing everything you're supposed to do here, and then you have no representation in Congress. It's just a retarded thing. Of course, I have a business in DC and own property in DC, but I've lived in Maryland since 1994. So, I'm just saying that people living here are just going through the same circle. So, Maryland is, like I say, richest state in the United States. Baltimore is kind of dysfunctional. We know DC is smaller, but kind of dysfunctional. Can't seem to stop the crime. Can't seem to stop the killing. Can't seem to stop the carjacking. Can't seem to find people who kidnap them people. Can't stop the drug trade. Can't stop anything. And then DC eliminates menthol cigarettes. How do you make marijuana legal and then eliminate menthol cigarettes? Because all you're doing is creating more crime, because you're creating a gray market. You have. I know me personally, my store, 80% of my sales were menthol, so I'm no longer selling it, which means I'm losing money. And all you're doing is creating a gray market where you can incriminate more people, because gray market means it's illegal. So you see somebody selling on the street, you're against the law. Some merchant, some Ethiopian try to sell it, still get caught, you're against the law. Why make people criminals? So I think prohibition didn't want to have liquor and alcohol. We see that didn't work out very good at all. You had FBI wasting time doing that, and eventually it became legal anyway. So everybody who was doing it and manufacturing it and before time had a head jump, and everybody else who had to stop will obey the law and stop. So some things are just individual people's motivation and change. Don't know why. I don't know why this 5-cent bag law thing went into existence a while back. I don't know why we got impervious water bills, whereby you can kind of pay water for any asphalt or brick you got here, and then they keep fooling around the meters, and that price goes on the meters. It's just a racket, man. A whole bunch of things going on in this place, so it needs to be exposed, need to be absorbed into Maryland, and we just need to keep moving on that way. So it's just history. All that home rule fighting, all this fighting, that fighting, trying to become a state, scratch it. Join Maryland, you become a state, your citizens automatically you get full representation in Congress, and everything gets done the way it should get done. And that's the way I see it. So that's my facts, my opinion. Anybody got any other opinions about it, leave comments on my page. Stay black in America, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Till next time, bye.